Novak Djokovic's vaccine exemption backfired and ended his Australian Open dream in more ways than one. Not only did he face a legal battle and a public backlash, but he also missed out on crucial preparation time for the tournament. Djokovic, who had tested positive for COVID-19 in December 2021, claimed that he had received a medical exemption from getting vaccinated against COVID-19 based on his recent recovery. However, his exemption was not accepted by the Australian Border Force, who cancelled his visa upon arrival in Melbourne on January 5, 2022. This sparked a week-long saga that saw Djokovic detained in a temporary facility, appeal to the Federal Circuit Court, win his case and regain his visa, only to have it revoked again by the immigration minister. He was eventually deported on January 16, 2022, just a day before the Australian Open began. During this time, Djokovic faced intense scrutiny and criticism from the media, the public and some fellow players. Many questioned the validity of his exemption and accused him of being selfish and irresponsible. Some also expressed anger and frustration at the perceived double standards and preferential treatment given to him by Tennis Australia and the Victorian government. Djokovic's ordeal also took a toll on his mental and physical preparation for the tournament. He was unable to train or practice as he normally would, and he had to deal with the stress and uncertainty of his legal situation. He also missed out on playing in the ATP Cup, a team event that he had won with Serbia in 2020 and 2021. Djokovic's vaccine exemption ultimately cost him his chance to make history at the Australian Open. He had hoped to win his 10th title in Melbourne and surpass Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal as the most successful men's player in Grand Slam history with 21 majors. Instead, he had to watch from afar as his rivals competed for the trophy. Djokovic's vaccine exemption also jeopardized his future participation in other tournaments. He was banned from entering France for 3 years due to his visa cancellation in Australia, putting his French Open prospects in doubt. He also faced uncertainty over whether he could play in the US Open later in the year, as the United States had imposed a vaccine mandate on international travelers. However, on May 2, 2023, the White House announced that it was lifting its vaccine mandate on May 11, clearing the way for Djokovic to play in the US Open. Djokovic expressed his relief and gratitude on social media, saying that he was looking forward to returning to New York and competing for another Grand Slam title. Novak Djokovic's absence from the 2022 Australian Open had a significant impact on the draw and the performance of other players in the tournament. Djokovic, who was deported from Australia for being unvaccinated for COVID-19, had won 9 of the previous 13 editions of the event and was the defending champion and world No. 1 at the time. His withdrawal opened up the opportunity for other players to claim the title and the ranking points. One of the biggest beneficiaries of Djokovic's absence was Stefanos Tsitsipas, who reached his first Australian Open final and his 3rd Grand Slam final overall. The Greek star, who was seeded 4th, had a relatively smooth path to the final, dropping only 2 sets in 6 matches. He defeated Alexander Zverev in a thrilling 5-set semi-final, avenging his loss to the German in the 2021 US Open final. Tsitsipas also became the first player from Greece to reach the Australian Open final and the second player from his country to reach a Grand Slam final after Maria Sakkari at the 2021 US Open. Another player who capitalized on Djokovic's absence was Tommy Paul, who had a breakthrough run to his first Grand Slam semi-final. The American, who was ranked 51st in the world and unseeded in the tournament, stunned 5th seed Andrei Rublev in the 4th round and 9th seed Matteo Berrettini in the quarterfinals. He also pushed Djokovic to a tight 3-set match in the semi-finals, showing his fighting spirit and resilience. Paul's performance at the Australian Open catapulted him to a career-high ranking of 19th. On the other hand, some players who were expected to challenge for the title failed to live up to their potential without Djokovic in the draw. One of them was Daniil Medvedev, who was seeded 2nd and had won the 2021 US Open and reached the 2021 Australian Open final. The Russian, who was considered by many as the favorite to win the title after Djokovic's deportation, suffered a shocking loss to Nick Kyrgios in the third round. Medvedev struggled with his serve and his emotions, losing his composure and smashing his racket several times. He also had a heated exchange with Kyrgios, who taunted him with a Novak gesture after winning a point. Another player who disappointed at the Australian Open was Rafael Nadal, who was seeded third and had a chance to surpass Djokovic and Federer with a record 21st Grand Slam title. The Spaniard, who had missed most of the 2021 season due to injury and illness, looked rusty and vulnerable in his matches. He was pushed to 5 sets by Denis Shapovalov in the fourth round and by Gael Monfils in the quarterfinals. He eventually lost to Tsitsipas in 4 sets in the semi-finals, failing to convert 2 match points in the third set. Nadal also lost his No. 2 ranking to Tsitsipas after the tournament. In conclusion, Novak Djokovic's vaccine exemption backfired and ended his Australian Open dream in 2022, but it also created a ripple effect on the draw and the performance of other players in the tournament. Some players seized their chance to shine without Djokovic's presence, while others faltered under pressure or expectation. Djokovic's absence also left a void in terms of star power and drama, as he had been involved in some of the most memorable matches and moments at the Australian Open in recent years.